The breaking point. The crystalline walls of Harmony X Station sparkled with false promises of peace. Ambassador Sarah Chen adjusted her formal Earth Alliance uniform, its midnight blue fabric adorned with the golden insignia of united humanity. Behind her, a team of 5 human diplomats carried data tablets and hope. Both would prove futile today. Sarah had been a diplomat for 20 years, watching humanity's position in the Galactic Council steadily erode. Once, humans had been welcomed with curiosity, even respect. Now, after decades of subtle marginalization, they were treated as emotional primitives, useful only for their industrial output and willingness to trade. The assembly hall stretched before them, a vast dome where representatives from 47 species gathered around a circular table. Sarah noted how the seating arrangement placed humans at the outer edge, far from the central powers. The crystalline Veloth, the 4-armed Kratok, and the serpentine Sithra. As she took her seat, whispers rippled through the alien delegates. Sarah caught fragments in common galactic. Emotional species, primitive neural patterns, useful workers. She maintained her composure, years of training keeping her face neutral. High Chancellor Vexthar of the Veloth called the session to order. His translucent form shimmered with what Sarah recognized as contempt. "We gather to address the human petition regarding resource allocation in the Orion Spur," he announced, his tone suggesting the matter was barely worth discussing. Sarah stood, accessing her prepared remarks. "Honored delegates, humanity requests equitable access to the helium-3 deposits discovered by our survey ships." "Your ships?" Kratok Ambassador Gorth interrupted, his mandibles clicking in amusement. "You mean the vessels we graciously allowed you to operate in our territories?" Laughter echoed through the chamber. Sarah's jaw tightened imperceptibly. "The territories in question are unclaimed space, as defined by your primitive understanding of galactic law," Sithra Representative Hiskar interjected. "Your species still measures territory in flat plains. How quaint." More laughter. Sarah's team shifted uncomfortably. She continued, voice steady. "Our understanding of multidimensional territory claims is quite sophisticated. What we're discussing is fundamental fairness." Fairness. Vexthar's crystalline surface rippled with colors indicating derision. Such an emotional concept. "The galaxy operates on logic and power, Ambassador Chen. Perhaps when humans evolve beyond their feelings, they'll understand." The chamber erupted in what passed for laughter among various species. Sarah felt her team's anger rising behind her, their tablets gripped white-knuckled. Then came the moment that changed everything. A junior Velothade entered, carrying the ornate container. "High Chancellor, we've completed the analysis of the artifacts from the human colony world, Kepler 22 bits." Sarah's blood ran cold. Those artifacts, personal items, family heirlooms, children's toys recovered from the colony destroyed by a mining accident that humanity suspected was deliberate, had been taken for investigation. Vexthar gestured dismissively. "Ah yes, the primitive trinkets. Display them." The aide opened the container, revealing the artifacts. Now crushed, melted, desecrated. A child's teddy bear reduced to ash. Wedding rings fused into a meaningless lump. Photos of families burned beyond recognition. As suspected, Vexthar announced, "Mere emotional attachments. No technological value. We've disposed of them accordingly." The chamber fell silent. Even some alien delegates seemed to sense they'd crossed a line. Sarah stood perfectly still, her team frozen behind her. For 10 seconds, she didn't move, didn't speak. Then, very slowly, she began gathering her materials. "Ambassador Chen." Vexthar's tone held a note of uncertainty. Sarah looked up, and for the first time, the alien saw what human diplomats had always hidden. The steel beneath the smile, the calculation behind the courtesy. "High Chancellor, honored delegates," she said, her voice soft, but carrying to every corner of the chamber. "You've made your position clear. Those primitive trinkets belong to 300,000 humans who died on Kepler 22 bits. They were all we had left of them. She closed her tablet. Humanity withdraws from these negotiations, effective immediately. The aliens stirred, confused. Withdrawals were unprecedented. Ambassador, Vexthar called, colors shifting to concern. You cannot simply. I can. Sarah interrupted. And I am. She turned to her team. We're leaving. As one, the human delegation stood. No anger in their movements, no visible emotion. Just cold, precise action. This is highly irregular, Gorth protested. You humans are too emotional to. Emotional. Sarah turned back, a slight smile on her face that didn't reach her eyes. You've confused restraint with weakness, dignity with primitiveness. That ends today. She walked toward the exit, her team falling in behind her. The aliens watched in stunned silence. Ambassador Chen. Vexthar's voice held an edge of panic. The trade agreements, the technical support contracts. Sarah paused at the doorway. Cancelled. All of them. You can't survive without the council. We survived alone for 50,000 years, Sarah replied. We'll manage. The doors closed behind them with a soft hiss. In the chamber, nervous laughter attempted to fill the void. Typical human dramatics, Hiskar scoffed. They'll be back within a cycle, begging for raid mission. Of course, Vexthar agreed, his color stabilizing. Where else would they go? But some delegates noticed their tablets flickering, systems beginning to glitch. The human-designed software that ran much of the station's operations was already responding to remote commands. In the human sector, word spread quickly. Ships began departing, not in panic, but with methodical precision. Merchants closed their shops. Engineers packed their tools. Doctors finished their shifts and booked passage home. The Great Withdrawal had begun. On her ship, Sarah composed a message to Earth Command. Phase 1 complete. They took the bait. Initiate Phase 2. She looked out at the stars, remembering the families of Kepler 22 bits. You wanted to see human emotion, she whispered. We'll show you human resolve. Across the galaxy, hidden fleets powered up their engines. Research stations activated dormant projects. Humanity had played the part of the emotional primitive for decades, studying their superiors, learning their weaknesses, preparing. Now the galaxy would learn why Earth's children were never truly conquered, why they survived every catastrophe, why they reached the stars despite the odds. Not because they lacked emotion, but because they could channel it into something far more dangerous, cold, calculated, patient determination. The aliens had poked the wrong beast, and this beast knew exactly how to bite back. The Silent Storm. 3 weeks after humanity's withdrawal from Harmony X, the first signs of trouble rippled across the Galactic Council's territories. It began subtly. A trading hub here, a communication relay there, small inconveniences that the aliens dismissed as coincidence. The Velith trade station, Prism 7, reported navigation errors in their docking systems. A Kratok manufacturing world experienced power fluctuations. The Sithris prize data archives developed mysterious corruption issues. High Chancellor Vexthar convened an emergency session. His crystalline form flickered with agitation as he addressed a half-empty chamber. Many representatives were dealing with crises on their homeworlds. These technical difficulties are temporary, he declared. The humans think they can pressure us with these childish tactics. Ambassador Gorth slammed 2 of his 4 fists on the table. Childish. Our military shipyards are operating at 30% capacity. Our weapons systems keep targeting empty space. The financial networks are collapsing. Added a Thurian representative. Every transaction requires human-designed protocols we can't replicate. Vexthar's colors shifted to disbelief. Impossible. We're the most advanced species in the galaxy. How could we be dependent on human technology? The answer came from an unexpected source. Elder scientist Yix of the Contemplative Order, rarely seen in political gatherings, stepped forward. His ancient eyes held worry. Because we never bothered to understand it. Yix explained. Human technology isn't inferior, it's different. While we pursued elegance and theoretical perfection, humans built practical, adaptable systems. We integrated their solutions without comprehending them. Explain, Vexthar demanded. Their code isn't just programming. It's layered with redundancies, adaptive algorithms, self-modifying protocols. What we dismissed as inefficient complexity was actually resilient design. Now they've activated hidden subroutines we never knew existed. As if to emphasize his point, the chamber's lights flickered. Environmental controls stuttered, causing temperature fluctuations. We must negotiate their return, Gorth growled. I've tried, Vexthar admitted. All communication channels are closed. Human space is completely dark. What the aliens didn't know was that humanity wasn't silent at all. In hidden bases across the galaxy, human strategic command centers hummed with activity. Admiral James Morrison stood before a holographic display showing every council world, every trade route, every military installation. Colored lines indicated dependencies, weaknesses, and critical systems. Status report, he ordered. Phase 2 is 73% complete, replied Commander Sophia Reyes. Their financial systems are in freefall. Military readiness is down to 40%. 3 major species are reporting food shortages due to distribution network failures. Morrison nodded. No casualties. 0, sir. As planned. We're dismantling their superiority, not their civilizations. Good. Ready Phase 3. Back in council space, panic was setting in. The Sithra's climate control systems failed, forcing evacuations from 3 colony worlds. The Kratok's automated defenses malfunctioned, targeting their own ships. The Veloth's crystalline matrices began showing stress fractures from unregulated energy fluctuations. Ambassador Gorth attempted to reach human space directly. His ship approached the border, only to find empty void where human colony should be. Impossible, he muttered. Entire worlds don't just vanish. His science officer trembled. Sir, they're still there. We just can't detect them. The humans have developed cloaking technology beyond anything we've seen. As Gorth's ship probed deeper, proximity alarms blared. Space itself seemed to ripple, and suddenly his vessel was surrounded by hundreds of human warships, ships that hadn't existed in any database. The human fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Not the bulky, utilitarian vessels they'd shown the Council, but sleek predators bristling with unknown weapons. Each ship bore not the Earth Alliance insignia, but an older symbol, a blue marble wreathed in stars. A transmission came through. Admiral Morrison's face appeared, calm and professional. Ambassador Gorth, you're violating the borders of sovereign human space. Admiral, I come to negotiate. There's nothing to negotiate. You made your position clear at Harmonita X. We were wrong, Gorth admitted, desperation cracking his proud demeanor. The Council will apologize, make reparations. For Kepler 22 bits. Morrison's voice hardened. For centuries of condescension. For treating our emotion as weakness while you relied on our technology. Around Council space, more revelations emerged. Hidden human bases deactivated their cloaking, revealing massive installations throughout alien territory. Research stations, military outposts, observation facilities. Humanity had been watching, learning, preparing. The Contemplative Order published their findings. Humans had been subtly manipulating galactic development for decades. Every primitive solution they'd offered had been carefully designed to create dependency. Every emotional outburst had been calculated to make aliens underestimate them. They played us, Elder Yix announced to a horrified council. While we mocked their emotions, they used our arrogance as camouflage. They've turned our superiority complex into our greatest weakness. In human space, Sarah Chen met with the Terran Congressional Committee. The Council is sufficiently humbled, she reported. They're ready to listen. The President nodded. What's our next move? Sarah smiled. Now we show them what human emotion really means. Not weakness, but strength. Not primitiveness, but depth. We'll return to the galactic community, but on our terms. And those terms are equality, respect, and a memorial on Harmony AX for every human lost to their logical superiority. As Phase 3 began, human ships started appearing over Council worlds, not as invaders, but as saviors. They restored critical systems, provided humanitarian aid, and demonstrated capabilities that made alien technology look primitive. But with each act of assistance came a quiet reminder. Humanity could have done this violently. They chose not to. The galaxy was learning that human mercy was not weakness, and human patience was not passivity. It was the restraint of a species that had mastered both creation and destruction, and chose to build rather than break. In the depths of space, human fleets stood ready, not for conquest, but for protection. They'd revealed themselves not to dominate, but to demand respect. The silent storm had passed, leaving a galaxy forever changed. And finally, the aliens understood. They hadn't been dealing with primitive emotionals, but with masters of the long game who had turned sentiment into strategy, feeling into power, and restraint into the ultimate weapon, the reckoning. The Grand Conclave of Harmony X reconvened exactly 1 year after humanity's walkout. This time, the seating arrangement was different. The circular table remained, but at its very center sat a single chair, currently empty, waiting for the human representative. The alien delegates fidgeted nervously. Their once gleaming technologies now bore obvious human improvements. Their military uniforms displayed new insignias, joint task forces with human commanders. Their very presence here was a testament to how completely the galactic order had shifted. High Chancellor Vexthar entered, his crystalline form now showing marks of humility. Colors muted, edges less sharp. He took his seat not at the head, but as one among equals. The doors opened, and Sarah Chen walked in. No longer just an ambassador, she now bore the title of First Speaker for United Humanity. Behind her came not a small diplomatic team, but representatives from every major human world and faction. Sarah took the central seat, her presence commanding despite her calm demeanor. The room fell silent. 1 year ago, she began, you laughed at human emotion. Today, I see fear in your eyes, respect in your postures. But that's not what humanity wanted. She gestured, and holographic displays activated around the chamber. They showed the past year, human fleets protecting alien colonies from pirates, human engineers rebuilding collapsed infrastructure, human doctors curing plagues that had ravaged populations for centuries. We didn't reveal our strength to conquer, Sarah continued. We did it to teach. Ambassador Gorth leaned forward. What was the lesson? That strength comes in many forms. You saw our tears as weakness, our empathy as primitiveness. But those same emotions drove us to build redundant systems to protect life, to create adaptive technologies that could save civilizations, to prepare for catastrophes while you basked in superiority. The displays shifted, showing human history, wars, disasters, triumphs, and recoveries. We are emotional because we remember pain. We are cautious because we've survived apocalypse. We are strong because we care too much to be weak. Elder Yix spoke up, and Kepler 22 bits. The artifacts. Sarah's expression hardened slightly. 300,000 souls lost to your mining accident. Their memories desecrated for your amusement. That will never be forgotten. The aliens shifted uncomfortably. But, Sarah continued, her voice softening, we choose to remember as humans do, not for vengeance, but for wisdom. We've built a memorial in the ruins of Kepler 22 bits. Every species is invited to contribute, to learn, to understand what was lost. You offer forgiveness, Vexthar asked, surprised. We offer understanding. Forgiveness is earned through change. The next hours were spent outlining the new galactic structure. The council remained, but reformed. No species held inherent superiority. Decisions required consensus, not majority rule. Technology sharing became mandatory with full transparency. Most significantly, humanity established the Emotional Intelligence Institute, a galactic center for understanding how emotions drove innovation, resilience, and progress. What aliens had mocked became the foundation of a new philosophy. "You'll teach us to be emotional," Hiskar asked, his serpentine form coiling uncertainly. "We'll teach you to understand emotions, yours and others. Every species feels. You've just suppressed it as weakness. That ends now." As the conclave progressed, remarkable transformations occurred. The Kratok admitted their warrior culture stemmed from deep-seated fear of extinction. The Sithra revealed their cold logic masked profound loneliness as a species. The Velith confessed their crystalline perfection was a desperate attempt to deny their own mortality. Humanity had turned the tables completely. Instead of demanding subservience, they offered therapy on a galactic scale. 6 months later, the galaxy was unrecognizable. Human-alien hybrid technologies revolutionized every field. Joint exploration fleets pushed into unknown regions. Art, music, and literature flourished as species learned to express rather than suppress their inner worlds. The memorial at Kepler 22 bits became a pilgrimage site. Aliens who once scorned human attachment now left offerings for the lost colonists, understanding at last the profound strength in remembering, in grieving, in caring. Sarah stood on the observation deck of the new Harmony Station, rebuilt with architecture that blended all species' aesthetics. Admiral Morrison joined her. "Think they've really learned?" he asked. "Some have. Others are trying. A few still resist, but their own people are changing around them." "And humanity?" Sarah smiled. "We've learned too. We're not alone in feeling deeply. We just need to help others admit it." Below them, ships from a dozen species worked together on a massive project. The first intergalactic arc, designed to explore beyond the galaxy's edge. It was a testament to what emotional beings could achieve when they channeled their feelings into shared dreams. The final council session of the year addressed one last matter. Vexthar, now showing colors of genuine warmth, posed the question, "How did you hide such power from us for so long?" Sarah's answer echoed through the chamber and into history. "You saw what you expected to see. Emotional primitives, useful tools, lesser beings. Your contempt blinded you to reality. We didn't hide our power. You simply couldn't imagine that those you deemed inferior might surpass you." She stood, addressing all present. "Let this be the greatest lesson. Never mistake kindness for weakness, emotion for primitiveness, or restraint for inability. The most dangerous species in the galaxy isn't the one with the biggest weapons. It's the one with the deepest feelings and the wisdom to use them." As humanity took its rightful place among the stars, not as conquerors but as teachers, the galaxy entered a new age. The Age of Emotion, they called it, when the power of feeling finally overcame the tyranny of cold logic. And in the vast reaches of space, other civilizations watched and learned. The humans had not just won a political victory, they had revolutionized the very concept of strength. The beast they had poked hadn't devoured them. Instead, it had lifted them up, teaching them to roar with their own voices, to feel with their own hearts, to stand tall not through dominance, but through understanding. The stars belonged to all who could dream of reaching them. And now, finally, the galaxy knew how to dream. As Sarah later wrote in her memoirs, "We didn't conquer the galaxy. We healed it. And in doing so, we finally healed ourselves." The future stretched before them, vast and full of potential. And this time, humanity would face it not alone, but as the heart of a galactic family that had learned the most human lesson of all. That true strength lies not in suppressing what makes us vulnerable, but in embracing it, sharing it, and growing together through it. The beast hadn't been tamed. It had taught others to find the beast within themselves, and to use that power for creation rather than destruction. And among the stars, a new legend was born, of the species that walked away from power only to gain the entire galaxy's respect, of the primitives who taught the advanced to feel, of the humans who showed that the greatest strength of all was the courage to care. The end.